echoes across the void. The quantum detection grid surrounding Europa wasn't supposed to ping like that. Dr. Maya Patel had spent 6 years helping design the QDG network, and in all her simulations, she'd never seen a pattern quite like the concentric ripples now spreading across her holographic display. The readings were so strange that for a moment, she wondered if someone in the lab was playing an elaborate prank. "System diagnostic," she commanded, her voice steady despite the growing tension in her shoulders. The Europa Research Station's AI responded immediately, its crystalline voice filling her private lab module. "All systems functioning at optimal capacity, Dr. Patel. Quantum sensors are registering unprecedented distortions in local spacetime approximately 127,000 kilometers from Europa's surface." Maya pulled up the raw data streams, her dark eyes reflecting the cascade of numbers and quantum signatures. What she saw made her breath catch in her throat. The fabric of space itself was being warped, not by natural phenomena, but with surgical precision. This was technology at work, just not human technology. "Contact Station Command," she said, already pulling up additional sensor feeds. "Priority Alpha." The response was immediate. Station Commander Helena Rodriguez's face appeared on Maya's main screen, her expression alert despite the early hour. "Dr. Patel, Alpha alerts better be good at 300. Commander, I'm registering artificial quantum manipulation on a scale we've only theorized about. Something's creating controlled spacetime distortions out there, and..." Maya paused, double-checking her readings. "And whatever it is, it's failing." The next 4 hours transformed Europa Station from a quiet research outpost into the center of humanity's first real alien crisis. Military vessels from Earth's combined space force were already accelerating toward Jupiter, while every telescope in the solar system turned toward the coordinates Maya had identified. The images, when they finally came through, stunned even the most seasoned scientists. A fleet of vessels hung suspended in the distorted space, their designs defying human engineering logic. The ships seemed to be grown rather than built, their hulls a lattice of crystalline structures and biological components that pulsed with internal energy. The largest was nearly the size of Manhattan, while the smallest still dwarfed humanity's largest space stations. But it was their predicament that truly captured Maya's attention. The fleet was trapped in what appeared to be a failed quantum drive bubble, a theoretical means of FTL travel that humanity had only begun to understand. The aliens had attempted to create a temporary pocket of altered physics for faster-than-light travel, but something had gone catastrophically wrong. "They're dying out there," Maya explained to the emergency council that had assembled in Europa Station's main conference chamber. The room was packed with Earth's top scientists, military leaders, and political representatives, all connected via quantum entanglement communications. Their drive bubble has become unstable. Instead of propelling them forward, it's created a temporal prison. Time inside that bubble is moving thousands of times slower than normal space-time. Admiral James Chen, appearing via hologram from Earth, leaned forward. "Are they a threat?" "With respect, Admiral," Maya replied, "they're the ones in trouble. Based on our readings, they've been trapped in that bubble for what we would consider 3 days. But for them, it's been the equivalent of decades. Their power systems are failing, and when they do..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone understood the implications of a quantum bubble collapse with hundreds of massive ships inside it. The first transmission from the fleet arrived 18 hours later. It came in the form of a quantum data packet, a technology humanity had theorized but never successfully created. The aliens, it seemed, had been studying Earth's communications long enough to create a message everyone could understand. "To the inhabitants of the third planet and their outposts, we are the Viridian Collective. Our Exodus fleet carries the last survivors of 3 worlds destroyed by our star's premature death. We attempted a desperate quantum translation to reach safe harbor, but our calculations proved flawed. Now we are trapped in a prison of our own making. Our children knowing only the slow death of our ships as our power fails. We have watched your species rise to the challenges of space. We have seen your creativity, your resilience, your capacity to solve problems in ways we never imagined. We ask not for your technology, which we know is behind our own, but for your unique perspective. Help us find a solution we cannot see. Help us save 3 million souls who carry the last embers of 3 civilizations. The message repeated 3 times, then fell silent, leaving humanity with the greatest challenge it had ever faced: how to save a civilization whose technology they barely understood, using solutions that sane civilization couldn't imagine. Maya stared at the quantum signature of the message, a smile slowly spreading across her face. "They're right," she said softly. "Their technology is far beyond ours, but they're trapped by their own assumptions about how that technology should work." She turned to Commander Rodriguez. "Get me every quantum physicist, engineer, and theoretical mathematician in the system. And someone find me a really big whiteboard. We're going to solve this problem the human way, by thinking completely outside their box." The rescue of the Viridian fleet was about to begin, and with it, humanity's first steps into a much larger universe. But as Maya would soon discover, saving 3 million aliens would require more than just human ingenuity. It would demand a fundamental reimagining of the laws of physics themselves. Impossible solutions. The Europa Station's main laboratory had transformed into what Commander Rodriguez called organized chaos. Every available surface was covered with holographic equations, quantum field models, and sketches of increasingly improbable rescue scenarios. At the center of it all, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a 3-dimensional representation of the Viridian fleet's quantum bubble, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "Run it again," she commanded, and watch as the simulation played out. Once again, the attempted rescue ended in catastrophic failure. This marked the 47th failed simulation in 24 hours. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Earth's leading quantum mechanics expert who had arrived via emergency transport the previous day, shook his head. The fundamental problem remains. Their quantum bubble is like a soak film. Any attempt to breach it from the outside causes immediate collapse. But if we don't breach it, we can't help them. "Then we don't breach it," Maya said, her voice carrying that particular tone her colleagues had learned meant she was about to suggest something either brilliant or insane. "We merge with it." The room fell silent. Even the ever-present hum of the quantum computers seemed to quiet for a moment. "That's impossible," Dr. Sarah O'Connor, the Australian quantum field theorist, stated flatly. "Our technology can barely generate stable quantum fields the size of a proton. They're manipulating space-time on a scale millions of times larger." Maya smiled. "Exactly. We've been thinking about this wrong. We don't need to match their technology. We need to use our limitations as an advantage." She quickly sketched out a new model in the air, her fingers leaving glowing trails in the holographic interface. "Look at how they built their quantum bubble. It's massive, complex, perfectly engineered, and that's exactly why they're trapped. They're trying to maintain perfect quantum coherence across a space larger than a small moon. But what if instead of one big field, we created millions of tiny ones?" The concept began to take shape in the holographic display, a lattice of microscopic quantum fields, each one stable precisely because of its small size, interconnecting to form a larger structure. It would be like, Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened as he grasped the concept, like building a bridge out of atoms instead of steel beams. "A quantum bridge," Maya nodded. "We can't match their power, but we can match their precision. More importantly, we can adapt faster than their systems can." The next 12 hours saw the assembly of what would later be called the largest scientific collaboration in human history. Quantum labs across Earth and Mars began running parallel simulations. The Viridians, communicating through their limited quantum data packets, shared critical information about their bubble's structure, though the time dilation meant each exchange took days from their perspective. But it was an unexpected message from the Viridians that changed everything. We have received your proposed solution, the quantum packet translated. It is elegant in its simplicity, but there is something you should know. Our sensors indicate that your species possesses an understanding of quantum mechanics that differs fundamentally from our own. Your mathematics suggests you view quantum states as probabilistic rather than deterministic. This perspective never occurred to our civilization. It may be the key to our salvation. Maya stared at the message for a long moment before laughing out loud, startling her colleagues. Don't you see? She explained to their confused faces. They're trapped because they tried to create a perfect quantum state, an impossible task at that scale. But we humans have always accepted quantum uncertainty as fundamental. We don't try to eliminate it, we work with it. The implications cascaded through the scientific team. Their primitive understanding of quantum mechanics might actually be more advanced in some ways than the Viridians, where the aliens had brute forced their way through quantum mechanics with massive energy expenditures. Humans had developed subtle, elegant solutions born of working with limited resources. But the breakthrough came at a cost. The first attempt to establish a quantum bridge would have to be done at close range, dangerously close to the unstable bubble. Someone would have to pilot humanity's first quantum field generator ship right to the edge of the temporal distortion. I'll do it, Maya said before anyone could speak. I understand the theory better than anyone, and we'll only get one shot at this. Commander Rodriguez shook her head. It's too risky. We could send a drone. A drone can't make the split-second adjustments we need, Maya countered. This isn't just about the math anymore. We need human intuition. The commander stared at her for a long moment before nodding slowly. You have 12 hours to prepare. After that, we launch. As Maya began the pre-flight checks on the hastily modified research vessel that would carry humanity's hopes and the Viridian salvation, she received one final quantum packet from the fleet. In the time-dilated decades we have watched your species, we observed many traits we did not understand. You embrace chaos. You seek elegant solutions where we would use force. You trust intuition alongside logic. We did not comprehend the value of these traits until now. Whether you succeed or fail, you have taught us that true advancement comes not from perfection, but from learning to dance with uncertainty itself. Maya smiled as she initiated the quantum field generator's startup sequence. In less than 12 hours, she would attempt something never before tried in human history, creating a bridge between two different interpretations of reality itself. The fate of 3 million aliens hung in the balance, but so did humanity's first real chance to prove itself among the stars. As Europa Station grew smaller behind her ship, Maya began the final calculations. She couldn't help but appreciate the irony. Humanity's greatest contribution to an advanced alien civilization might not be technology at all, but rather the simple acceptance that sometimes the best solution is to embrace imperfection itself. Dancing with uncertainty. The quantum research vessel Heisenberg hung motionless against the backdrop of Jupiter's massive storms, a tiny mote of human ingenuity facing down the impossible. Inside the ship's cramped control center, Dr. Maya Patel performed her final systems check, painfully aware that 3 million lives hung on what would happen in the next few hours. Quantum field generators at 98% capacity, she reported to Europa Station. Beginning approach vector. Confirmed, Heisenberg. Commander Rodriguez's voice crackled through the quantum-encrypted channel. Be advised, we're detecting increased instability in the Viridian bubble. Time dilation effects are becoming more pronounced. Maya studied the readings on her holographic display. The commander wasn't exaggerating. The quantum bubble trapping the alien fleet was beginning to fluctuate wildly. What had started as a simple temporal prison was evolving into something far more dangerous. Dr. Tanaka, Maya called to her colleague monitoring from Europa Station. Are you seeing these probability curves? Hi, the Japanese physicist replied, his voice tense. The bubble isn't just slowing time anymore. It's fragmenting it. Different regions are experiencing different temporal rates. If we don't act soon. He didn't need to finish. They all knew what would happen if the bubble collapsed completely. The energy release would destroy not just the Viridian fleet, but potentially destabilize Jupiter's orbit as well. Maya engaged the Heisenberg's experimental drive system. The ship's quantum field generators hummed to life, creating a microscopic web of interconnected quantum states around the vessel. This was the technology they developed over the past week, humanity's first practical application of quantum field manipulation. Beginning Phase 1, Maya announced, guiding the ship closer to the bubble's outer boundary, initiating quantum lattice formation. Around the Heisenberg, space itself began to shimmer as millions of tiny quantum fields sprung into existence. Each one was barely larger than an atom, but together they formed a growing network of controlled uncertainty, a bridge between normal space and the trapped fleet's distorted realm. The first warning came from an unexpected source. Dr. Pertol, the Heisenberg's AA, announced, "I'm detecting anomalous patterns in the quantum lattice formation. The fields aren't maintaining predicted coherence." Maya frowned, checking the readings. The eye was right. Something was interfering with their carefully planned quantum bridge. But what? The answer came in a burst of quantum data from the Viridian fleet. Warning. Our sensors detect that your quantum manipulation is creating an unforeseen resonance with our bubble. The interaction is generating what we can only describe as temporal echoes. Maya's eyes widened as she processed the implications. Their quantum bridge wasn't just connecting spaces, it was connecting different time streams. The Viridian's perfect quantum bubble and humanity's probabilistic approach were creating something entirely new. "All stations, this is Heisenberg," Maya broadcast. "We need to adjust our approach. The quantum bridge isn't just fighting space, it's fighting time itself. Every field we generate is creating ripples through multiple temporal states." Dr. Tanaka's voice came back, excited despite the crisis. "Maya-san, this could be the solution. If we can't break them out of their time dilation directly, maybe we can. Use the temporal echoes to our advantage." Maya finished, her fingers already flying over the controls. "Instead of fighting the time distortion, we ride it." The next hour was a dangerous dance at the edge of physics itself. Maya carefully adjusted the quantum lattice, not trying to break through the bubble, but rather synchronizing with its temporal fluctuations. Each tiny quantum field became a note in a vast symphony of space-time manipulation. The Viridians caught on quickly. New data packets arrived, showing how they were adjusting their ship's own quantum systems to match the pattern Maya was creating. Together, human and alien technology began weaving a new kind of rescue system, not a bridge, but a temporal wave they could surf back to normal space-time. But success came with a price. As the first Viridian ships began breaking free of the bubble, Maya's instruments detected a critical problem. "The quantum lattice is becoming unstable," the AA warned. "Continued operation risks catastrophic collapse of all local quantum fields, including ship systems." Maya quickly ran the calculations. The quantum bridge was working, but maintaining it was tearing the Heisenberg apart at the subatomic level. She had a choice: withdraw to safety and risk leaving many Viridians trapped, or maintain position and face almost certain destruction. "Maya," Commander Rodriguez's voice was firm. "Get out of there. That's an order." But Maya had already made her decision. She initiated a power transfer, routing every spare bit of energy into the quantum field generators. "Negative, Commander. We're too close to success." Activating emergency protocols. The Heisenberg's hull began to glow as quantum fields tore at its structure. Maya worked frantically, using the ship's deterioration itself as part of the rescue equation. As each system failed, she incorporated the collapse into the quantum lattice, turning disaster into opportunity. A new message arrived from the Viridian fleet, this one marked with highest priority. "We understand what you are attempting. Your sacrifice is unnecessary. We have learned enough from your methods to complete the transition ourselves. Please withdraw." Maya smiled as she sent back her response. Humanity's first gift to the stars shouldn't be a halfway rescue. Let's finish this together. As the Heisenberg began to break apart, Maya initiated her final gambit. She had discovered something in the quantum equations, a pattern that suggested the impossible. If she timed it perfectly, there might be a way to save both her ship and the remaining Viridian vessels. But it would require trusting in the very quantum uncertainty that had started this whole adventure. All stations she broadcast, preparing for final phase. And someone might want to write this down. I think we're about to discover a whole new law of physics. With that, Maya Patel engaged her last program, embracing uncertainty itself as both ship and scientist prepared to make history or become it. Quantum resonance. As the Heisenberg's hull crystallized into quantum fragments, Dr. Maya Patel watched reality itself fragment into multiple probability states. Her desperate gambit had triggered something unprecedented, a cascade of quantum events that even the Viridians had never witnessed before. Fascinating, she muttered, watching her own hands seemingly exist in multiple states at once. We're experiencing quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale. The ship's AI, now existing across multiple quantum states itself, managed to maintain enough coherence to speak. Doctor, the quantum field generators are operating at 300% of theoretical maximum capacity. This shouldn't be possible. A lot of impossible things are about to become possible, Maya replied, her mind racing as she processed the stream of data flowing across her holographic displays. The quantum bridge she created wasn't just connecting normal space to the Viridian's bubble, it was creating a new state of matter entirely. From Europa Station, Dr. Tanaka's voice came through distorted but audible. Maya-san, our instruments are detecting. I don't even have words for this. You've created some kind of quantum resonance cascade. The mathematical patterns are unlike anything we've ever seen. Maya smiled as she watched the equations unfold before her. Not created, Yuki. Discovered. This was always possible. We just needed the right circumstances to see it. The Viridian fleet, still partially trapped in their time-dilated bubble, sent a burst of quantum data that their translators took several seconds to decode. We are witnessing what our scientists believed impossible, the harmonious coexistence of multiple quantum states without collapse. Your vessel's interaction with our bubble has revealed a fundamental aspect of reality we never imagined. We request permission to share data as we experience this phenomenon together. Granted, Maya responded, even as she worked to stabilize the Heisenberg's deteriorating systems. But let's use this discovery to get you out first. What followed was perhaps the strangest scientific collaboration in human history. As the Heisenberg existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, Maya worked with both her Earth-based colleagues and the Viridian scientists to document and understand the phenomenon they'd stumbled upon. The quantum resonance wasn't just a curiosity, it was the key to their salvation. It's like a symphony, Maya explained to her colleagues, her voice echoing strangely through the quantum field. Each quantum state is a different instrument. Instead of trying to force them all to play the same note, we let them harmonize naturally. The Viridians caught on quickly, adjusting their ship's quantum fields to match the resonance pattern. One by one, vessels began slipping free of the time dilation bubble, riding the quantum harmonics back to normal space-time. But as more ships escaped, the strain on the Heisenberg increased. Hull integrity at 15%, the AA warned. Quantum field coherence becoming unstable. Maya ignored the warning, focusing instead on a pattern emerging in the data. The quantum resonance wasn't just affecting space and time, it was changing how both species understood reality itself. Each escaped Viridian ship left behind a trace of its quantum signature, creating a growing network of interconnected fields. Commander, Maya called to Europa Station, her voice now existing in several temporal states at once. I need you to broadcast this data to every quantum physics lab in the solar system. What we're seeing here, It changes everything we thought we knew about quantum mechanics. The next hour was a blur of activity as Maya coordinated the rescue operation while simultaneously documenting the unprecedented quantum phenomena surrounding her ship. The Viridians proved to be quick studies, their advanced technology adapting to incorporate these new principles even as they escaped their temporal prison. But with success came a new crisis. As the last Viridian ships prepared to break free, the quantum resonance began to collapse. The harmony of quantum states that Maya had discovered was beginning to unravel. "Warning," the AI announced, its voice now a chorus of quantum possibilities. "Quantum field collapse imminent. Recommend immediate evacuation." Maya checked her readings one last time. The remaining Viridian ships were almost free, but the collapse of the quantum resonance would trap them in normal spacetime with potentially catastrophic consequences. "Unless, all stations," she broadcast, initiating Protocol Schrödinger. "Maya, no." Dr. Tanaka's voice cut through the quantum static. "That protocol is theoretical. We never tested it." "Then this will be one hell of a field test," Maya replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "Besides, in our current quantum state, it's both already worked and failed. Might as well collapse the waveform in our favor." Protocol Schrödinger was Maya's last resort plan, a way to use the collapsing quantum resonance itself as a propulsion system. If it worked, it would push the remaining Viridian ships to safety while preserving the scientific data they gathered. If it failed, well, in some quantum state, it had to succeed. The Viridians sent one final message as Maya initiated the protocol. "We understand now why we were drawn to your species. You do not just observe quantum uncertainty, you embrace it as a fundamental truth. This wisdom, more than any technology, marks you as ready for the greater galaxy. Whatever comes next, know that you have earned not just our gratitude, but our respect." As Maya engaged the final sequence, the quantum resonance reached its peak. The Heisenberg existed in all possible states simultaneously, destroyed and intact, successful and failed, past and future merging in a moment of infinite possibility. In that eternal instant, Maya saw not just the rescue's outcome, but the future it would create. A partnership between humans and Viridians that would reshape both their civilizations. "All possibilities collapse to one reality," she whispered, quoting her old quantum mechanics professor. "Might as well make it a good one." With that, she made her final choice, collapsing the quantum resonance into a single defining moment that would change the course of human history forever. Harmonious futures. When the quantum resonance finally collapsed, reality reasserted itself in unexpected ways. The Heisenberg materialized in Jupiter's orbit, its hull transformed into a crystalline lattice that scientists would spend years studying. Dr. Maya Patel, somehow existing in perfect quantum sync with her ship, had become living proof of what she discovered. That consciousness itself could maintain quantum coherence at a macroscopic scale. "Well," she transmitted to the astonished observers at Europa Station, "I suppose this is what they mean by becoming one with your work." 3 months later, Maya stood before the United Earth Council, her slightly translucent form a testament to her transformed state. The chamber was packed with representatives from every nation on Earth, along with a delegation of Viridians who had chosen to remain in the solar system. The quantum resonance event didn't just save the Viridian fleet. Maya explained, her voice carrying harmonic overtones that seemed to resonate with reality itself. It fundamentally altered our understanding of quantum mechanics, consciousness, and the nature of reality itself. The head Viridian scientist, whose crystalline form shifted through various geometric patterns as they spoke, added their perspective. What Dr. Patel discovered was not merely a new physical law, but a bridge between different ways of perceiving reality. Our civilization spent millennia pursuing perfect quantum control, never realizing that uncertainty itself was the key to higher understanding. The changes that followed were profound and far-reaching. The Viridians, grateful for their rescue and fascinated by humanity's unique approach to physics, established their first permanent embassy on Mars. Their advanced technology, combined with humanity's innovative quantum theories, led to breakthroughs that transformed both civilizations. Maya found herself at the center of it all, though not entirely by choice. Her quantum-altered state made her the perfect intermediary between human and Viridian scientists. She could perceive quantum states directly, existing partially in the crystalline realm the Viridians naturally inhabited, while maintaining her human consciousness. "It's like having one foot in two different versions of reality," she explained to Dr. Tanaka during one of their regular research sessions. They were working in the newly established Quantum Harmony Institute, a massive facility built in Earth orbit specifically to study the phenomena discovered during the rescue. "The quantum resonance didn't just save them," she continued, manipulating a complex quantum field with her thoughts. "It showed us both that our understanding of reality was incomplete. The Viridians sought perfect control, we accepted uncertainty, but the truth was something in between, a harmony of both approaches." The practical applications of their combined knowledge emerged rapidly. Within a year, the first human Viridian hybrid ships were launched, using quantum resonance drives that surfed the boundaries between possible realities. Cities began incorporating quantum architecture that existed in multiple states simultaneously, creating spaces that were both impossibly vast and comfortably intimate. But it was the cultural exchange that proved most profound. The Viridians, despite their advanced technology, found themselves drawn to human art, music, and literature, expressions of creativity that embraced uncertainty and chaos in ways that ordered society never had. In return, they shared their deep understanding of cosmic harmony, teaching humanity how to perceive the underlying patterns in seemingly random phenomena. 5 years after the rescue, Maya stood on the surface of Mars, watching the construction of New Harmony, the first true human Viridian city. Its quantum crystalline spires shifted between states of existence, while its foundations remained solidly anchored in conventional reality, a perfect metaphor for the partnership between the two species. "Did you ever imagine this?" Commander Rodriguez, now Admiral and Earth's primary liaison with the Viridians, asked as she joined Maya on the observation platform. Maya's quantum-shifted forms sparkled in the Martian sunset. "Not precisely this," she admitted, "but I always believed that understanding quantum mechanics would lead us to something profound. We just needed the right catalyst." A desperate rescue attempt by a scientist too stubborn to accept impossible odds. Rodriguez smiled. "That," Maya agreed, and the realization that sometimes the best way forward is to embrace uncertainty itself. The Viridian High Council had recently announced their decision to make the Sol system their new permanent home, rather than continuing their search for another star system. Their reasoning was simple. They'd have found something more valuable than a new homeworld. They had found partners who could help them see the universe in entirely new ways. As Maya watched a group of human and Viridian children playing in one of the quantum parks, their laughter somehow existing in multiple frequencies simultaneously, she reflected on how close they had come to missing this opportunity. If the Viridians hadn't become trapped, if humanity hadn't developed its unique approach to quantum mechanics, if she hadn't been willing to risk everything on an uncertain gambit. But such thoughts were merely possibilities in the quantum foam of reality. What mattered was the possibility that had manifested, a future where two very different species had learned to see the universe through each other's eyes. A quantum notification chimed in her consciousness. The latest data from the Deep Space Quantum Resonance Network showed signs of other civilizations out there, each with their own unique perspective on reality. Humanity and the Viridians were already preparing for more first contacts, ready to share what they had learned about the power of combining different ways of thinking. "Ready for another adventure?" Rodriguez asked, noting Maya's distant expression. Maya smiled, her form shifting through several quantum states before settling back into visibility. "Always," she replied. "After all, the universe is full of uncertainty, and that's exactly what makes it beautiful." As the Martian night fell, the quantum crystalline buildings of New Harmony began to glow with their own inner light, casting patterns that existed in multiple realities simultaneously. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from imposing order on chaos, but from finding the harmony that exists within uncertainty itself. And somewhere in the quantum fabric of space-time, the echo of humanity's first great leap into a larger cosmic community continued to resonate, carrying with it the promise of endless possibilities yet to come.